Okay, the meeting is being recorded. And good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Route 7 Bus Rapid Transit BRT Plan Amendment public meeting presentation. I am Mike Garcia, and I'll be your facilitator this evening. This is the second of two public meetings, with the other one being held yesterday at lunch. The purpose of the meeting is to go over changes to the comprehensive plan that staff is recommending to the Planning Commission and Board of Supervisors. Sean will go into a brief background of the study where a recommendation was made for the alignment and station locations that are part of this plan amendment. We want to hear the comments you have, and if there are details that are more relevant for the next steps in the project, we will factor that in to the extent it aligns with the pending Board of Supervisors approval. So with that, I just want to make sure everyone kind of understands how we're going to work with teams tonight. The chat feature is open, and if you have questions or comments during the presentation, please put those in the chat and we can grab them. Any questions we'll kind of answer at the end. If there's any technical difficulties, go ahead and add those in, and the host, Tom Burke, will go ahead and help you with any sort of technical difficulties. We'll also go and raise your hand. We'll use the hand raise feature kind of, we can see it, but we'll acknowledge you kind of at the conclusion of the presentation. Presentations this evening will be about 15-ish to 20 minutes long, and then we'll take questions and any comments after that. So with that said, Sean Schweitzer is our project manager and will be your presenter this evening. Tom Burke is the host behind the scenes and will help you with any technical difficulties. And Jeff Herman is the division chief for the Transportation Planning and Site Analysis Division within FCDOT. So this is where the project is currently being housed. With that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sean so we can get to the presentation and we'll get started. All right, Sean, it's all yours.
Thanks, Mike. So I'm going to share my screen and I'll start this slideshow. Okay. Everyone see my screen? Yeah.
We're good.
Oh, sounds good. Thanks. So like Mike said, my name is Sean Schweitzer. I'm the project lead for the county on the Route 7 BRT project. Tonight, I'll be going through the Route 7 Bus Rapid Transit Plan Amendment. So a little bit of the agenda. I'll go through the background of the Route 7 BRT project, then I get into the Route 7 BRT Plan Amendment and the proposed changes we're recommending. Then go into next steps for the project, and then at the end, I'll take any questions anyone might have. So getting into the background of the Route 7 BRT project, I'll start with the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission's Envision Route 7 study. They are currently coordinating with Arlington County, Fairfax, City of Alexandria, City of Falls Church, NVTC, DRPT, WMATA, and VDOT on their study. In their previous phases, they identified BRT as the preferred alternative along the Route 7 corridor from Tysons to the Mark Center. They also recommended in the previous phases dedicated bus lanes within Tysons and also the corridor or stretch of Route 7 between Seven Corners and Bailey's Crossroads. The current phase that they're in right now is looking at transportation analysis along the Route 7 corridor. They're using the findings from Fairfax County's Route 7 BRT study and incorporating that into their Phase 4 Part 1, which is looking at transportation analysis from the Tysons area all the way to Seven Corners. Now switching gears to the county's work or previous work on the Route 7 BRT project. We started a study back in the fall of 2018 to kind of take a more in-depth look at how the BRT would operate in the Tysons area. So we ultimately, we started with 9 preliminary alternatives, and then we culled that down to 3 to look further or more in detail. And as you can see in the graphic to the right, kind of shows the 3 alternatives. So from the focus of the study was from I-66 into like Tysons area to the Spring Hill Metro. So all 3 alternatives shared the same alignment from I-66 to International Drive. International Drive is where the 3 alternatives kind of differ. So we have the first alternative that we looked at in blue, which was alternative 1, and that went up International Drive and swung around Spring Hill Road, and then swung back on Tyco Road to get back to International Drive. Alternative 2 was the shortest, and that went just terminated right at the Tyson's Corner Metro Rail station. So you can kind of see it went there and came back. And alternative 3, which is highlighted in red, kind of closely resembles what NVTC's Envision Route 7 study anticipated the BRT doing, was to just stay on Route 7, go all the way up, take a right on Tyco Road, and terminate at the West Park Transit Station, and then ultimately come down Spring Hill Road and back on Route 7. We took these findings to the public back in March of 2021 to garner feedback, and we had a survey, and what we figured out was that alternative 1 was the most desired alternative. So with that, we took those findings to the Board of Supervisors in the summer of 2021, where they ultimately endorsed the preferred alternative, which was alternative 1. Now, getting into the plan amendment for the Route 7 BRT, in the graphic to the right, you can see that we're anticipating the BRT to operate in mixed traffic, which is the dotted red line, and it would terminate at the West Falls Church Metro Rail station. We needed a termination point on the southern portion, so we thought this was the most logical termination area for the northern portion of the Route 7 BRT project. We then had it anticipate it going on to Haycock and then taking a right onto Route 7 BRT westbound and stopping at the Chestnut Street station and Route 7 right here. This is to service the redevelopment that's occurring or planned for the West Falls Church area. Then at Idlewood and Route 7 is where we expect the BRT to transition from mixed traffic to median running BRT or exclusive median running BRT, highlighted by the purple. The next stop would be Patterson Road in Route 7, then George Marshall Station in Route 7. Then over the Beltway, we get to Faction Boulevard Station in Route 7, and then it takes a right onto International Drive and services Fletcher Street Station and International Drive. And then continuing north, we stop at the Greensboro and International Drive station. And then the next stop would be Lincoln Station and International Drive. And this is the stop where the BRT would then transition into mixed traffic, again, highlighted by the red dotted line. And this is to make that left on Spring Hill Road. And then ultimately it would transition to BAT lanes or business access and transit lanes. That's highlighted by the solid red line. It would continue westbound on Spring Hill Road, terminate at the Spring Hill Metro Rail station, where then to get back down to the southern portion of Route 7 would take a right onto Tyco Road in BAT lanes, where then it would ultimately transition to mixed traffic and then into exclusive medium running BRT on International Drive and then Route 7. So a little bit more detail on what the current Fairfax County Transportation Plan map shows, depicted here to the right. We're looking at from Route 7 or from Haycock to the Beltway. It is recommended to widen from 4 to 6 lanes. It's currently 4. And we're recommending to take those 2 new lanes or the widening of 2 lanes and make them exclusively for BRT lanes. Then from I-495 to International Drive, it is recommended to widen from 6 to 8 lanes, and those 2 new lanes would be for BRT. And then as we get onto International Drive, it is currently 6 lanes. We're recommending to repurpose 2 general purpose lanes to exclusive median running BRT along International Drive. And then on Spring Hill Road and Tyco Road, we are recommending BAT lanes or business access and transit lanes. There would be a BAT lane on the northern side of Spring Hill Road going westbound, and then there would be a BAT lane on Tyco Road going eastbound on the southern side. So now getting into the station locations and station configurations, I'll start in the southern portion of the BRT corridor. This is the West Falls Church area. So we are planning to utilize the flyover ramp over Route 7. So as the bus comes down Route 7 eastbound, it would right here at Idlewood and Route 7 transition to mixed traffic. It would get into the outer lane to take the flyover ramp to gain direct access to the West Falls Metro Rail Station. And then again, it would meander through this new development and get onto Haycock Road, and then ultimately take a right going Route 7 westbound, stop at Chestnut Street and Route 7, where then it would operate in mixed traffic going westbound on Route 7. The next stop would be Route 7 in Patterson Drive Station. You can see the BRT is operating in the median here, and the station platforms are staggered, and this is to help minimize right-of-way impacts. This stop would also service the Trader Joe's here to the right, and then also to the south, there's the Idlewood Shopping Center that I would service, and also residential areas as well around here. The next stop would be Route 7 and George C. Marshall Drive. Again, we're in median running BRT here, and again, the station platforms are staggered to minimize right-of-way needs. Again, you have the George Marshall High School right here, and then to the north, you have a planned townhouse development that's going in that it would service. Crossing over the Beltway, we get to Fashion Boulevard Station and Route 7. Again, we're still operating in the median BRT. Again, the platforms are staggered. This station would service the Tysons Corner Mall, as well as surrounding businesses and developments. Then we turn onto International Drive, and this stop is International Drive and Fletcher Street Station. Again, we're still in median running BRT, and the station platforms are staggered to reduce right-of-way impact. We're also thinking that this stop would be a possible future transfer point from the Gallows Road Enhanced Transit System that the county is currently undertaking. So this would be a good, viable transfer point for that as well. The next stop is International Drive and Greensboro Drive Station. This stop would service the Tysons Galleria Mall. Again, staggered station platforms to reduce right-of-way impacts, and again, operating in the median. Next stop is International Drive and Lincoln Drive Station. This stop would service the Rotunda condominiums and other condominiums over here to the right. Again, this stop is where the BRT would allow the BRT to transition from median running BRT to mixed traffic to make that left at Spring Hill Road. And then the last stop, or the termination stop, is Route 7 at Spring Hill Metro Rail Station. Again, the bus or the BRT would operate in BAT lanes or business access and transit lanes along the northern side of Spring Hill Road, terminate here at the existing bus facilities right at the Spring Hill Metro Rail Station before continuing and then taking a right onto Tycho Road in BAT lanes. So just to kind of recap what we're recommending or the proposed changes. So segments of the route, two exclusive BRT lanes. We're recommending Route 7 convert the two planned lanes from general purpose to BRT with the widening that's recommended. And then International, we're recommending to convert two existing general purpose lanes into exclusive median running BRT. All the other segments of the corridor are either in BAT lanes or in mixed traffic. We're also recommending to define the BRT route from West Falls Church Metro Rail Station all the way up into the Tysons area, terminating at the Spring Hill Metro Rail Station. We're also recommending to include the potential station locations along the segment of the BRT system. So getting into some of the community engagement we've previously done and are currently doing right now. Back in March of 2020, we held a in-person meeting, public meeting at the George Marshall High School. And this was in the beginning of the Route 7 BRT study that the county undertook to kind of get an understanding of the measures of effectiveness that we're going to use to compare the different alternatives to each other, and also see where people would proposed stations or where they were trying to get to in Tyson's, so that we could incorporate that into our alternatives analysis. And then in March of 2021, after we honed in on the three alternatives, we went back to the public to show the comparisons between the three alternatives, and then ultimately came out with the preferred route and proposed station locations, which was alternative one. And then we're currently doing two public meetings virtually. Yesterday we held one, and tonight we are holding one to kind of just give the information to the public on the Route 7 BRT plan amendment and the proposed changes we're thinking to make in the comprehensive plan. The next steps, FCDOT is currently working on the next phase of the Route 7 BRT project, which is looking at right-of-way needs along the BRT corridor. We're looking at station locations and configurations on how those intersections would look and function. We're also looking at bike ped facilities along the corridor as well, to include them, and make sure that it is safe for bikers and pedestrians. Looking at the different configurations as well with that. We are planning or anticipating to go to the Planning Commission in June of this year, June 21st, and then ultimately to the Board of Supervisors on July 25th this year. So now I'll open it up to the public for any questions and comments you all might have.
All right, thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. So we have some questions coming in. I can see a hand raised, and we'll get to the. Let me see something real quick. We'll take the hand raise in just a moment, but just for everyone else, if you want to ask a question, you can either raise your hand and we'll enable your microphone and you can ask your question. The other way you can do it is you can use the chat feature as well, type it in there and we'll address it through that. But with that, what I'll do is go ahead and enable your microphone, or ask Tom to do it. David, Tom's going to enable your microphone, and when you see that you can actually talk, please go for it. And David, your microphone is enabled, so you have to unmute. You have to unmute yourself. We can't unmute you.
Oh, all right, missed that step. Okay,
Yeah, sorry
thanks
about
for this. Thanks for
All
this presentation. Thanks for thinking about bus transport. So I posted some questions in the chat, but I was wondering, what is the walking distance from, I believe Fletcher is right by Silver Diner. What is the walking distance from Fletcher to Tyson's Metro?
I actually, Sean, I went ahead and measured this because I
Did
saw
you?
the question come in. It's 2,000 feet.
What does that
So
mean? What is, so that's almost half a mile?
it's about an 8-minute walk, if that helps. I took it down International. You take a right onto Chain Bridge. You could also cut down Tyson's one place if you wanted to, and kind of maybe shave off another few hundred feet. So I would say about an 8-minute walk seems about correct.
I see. I mean, on a cold winter day, I mean, considering the amount of people that get off at Tyson's, I mean, I feel that would have to be changed. I mean, I know you put out 3 options and one of them stopped at the Metro, but I just, there's so many people that get on and off at the Metro. It just is surprising. I mean, I love that you're reaching to the borough and to the Galleria, but I would think you have to, there's a 4th route. It's got to stop at Metro. An 8-minute walk on a freezing cold day would be just a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's my input.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, we did look at the different. We didn't want to ultimately copy the metro, the Silver Line. And we did try to stop at, some of the metro stops. We just, again, it was also trying not to, compete with the other modes of transportation. This one kind of helps alternative one, the alternative that we're looking at does help to expand the vast network of public transit within Tyson. So that's what we're kind of trying to incorporate, and also service, areas within Tyson's that, aren't really serviced by the metro area or, closely. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean that's a good point. I mean, I think there's always gonna be overlap. I mean, even
yeah.
Metro itself overlaps, sometimes in very congested or very utilized areas, you're gonna have overlap.
Mhm.
But it's nice that you're extending to Borough. It's sort of not out of reach, the Borough area in Spring Hill. But anyway, I mean, I made my feedback. I have other questions if you want me to, or you want to come back to me. Let me know.
If you want to go ahead, you're the only one with the hand raised at the moment, and
Okay.
if we see your questions in the chat, but if you want to go ahead and take them verbally, we'll do it that way as well.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah, we just said okay. What are you trying to, I'm in favor of BRT. I hate to see I hate to see a bus stuck in traffic. All
Yeah.
these people in their cars and like you got 30 people trying to, get on their way and there should be, the lane should be cleared. So I'm in favor of that. But when it comes, I've ridden 42nd Street from the east side to the west side at a snail's place, so I get it. But when we're talking West Falls Church to Spring Hill, like what is the problem you're trying to solve for? Like in my experience, I take that route a lot. Like the traffic's not so bad. Like it might bottle up right as you get to Tyson's, and when you're on the, in downtown Falls Church City. But what's the problem? What's the pace of a bus? Like what are you trying to solve for here?
So ultimately, we're trying to implement BRT. Route 7. We're right now only looking in the northern portion of the Route 7 BRT system. Uh, Ultimately, what the goal is to expand the BRT all the way down to Alexandria. So kind of give that kind of east to west connection that the metro doesn't do. So we're trying to ultimately enhance or expand this BRT system that right now we're only looking at the West Falls Church to Tyson's, but ultimately it is to create a longer corridor for this. So, people that want to kind of get from Alexandria to Tyson's without having to, take the metro all the way up to Roslyn and then come, go back out through the Silver Line. This would be another option for those people that are along the Route 7 corridor.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a great thing. I mean, like getting to the
Yeah.
annual Irish Day parade in King Street is a huge lift. If you're in Falls Church, it takes like 90 minutes. It's worth it for the parade, but but so that's a great thing. I mean, it's almost like I would have. I mean, nothing's perfect. I would have started with King Street to West Falls Church because I just don't see that much traffic between West Falls Church and Tyson's, and I mean, you know. The distance between bus stops is a negative. Walking, if
Mhm.
you're carrying stuff, you don't have a car. That's a negative. So it's like, what's the positive? And I just don't see the traffic between these 2 points. So I just want to share that. I
Yeah.
mean, I realize that gets to the crux of it, but you know, getting rapid. I mean, I don't know. Like you could say it's more rapid in general, but I don't know. We're losing proximity of bus stops, and I'm not sure how much we're gaining when it comes to between West Falls Church and Tyson's. Is my point.
So I'll take just another kind of approach to
Yeah.
help out. So
Mhm.
this system is also connecting major other points that maybe it does connect to the metro, but it also connects, obviously, on the east side of Route 7 and Tyson's, and also serves kind of Route 7 between Tyson's and West Falls Church, which is it's served a little bit by transit now, but it can be served better. And so those people kind of are given an opportunity to kind of hop on a system that actually provides faster and more reliable service at that. The other thing that can happen is with any of the local service that's there now, it can be changed so that it actually goes further or kind of stretches more frequently into the neighborhoods to pull them back into the bus rapid transit system for a faster transfer route. So that's the other thing it can do. It can actually expand the reach of transit by kind of putting this type of system in place. And we are able to connect two major metro lines, Silver Line being the Spring Hill station to West Falls Church line to the West Falls Church station, as well as connected to Seven Corners in Alexandria. So kind of picking up all these destinations will allow for this kind of service to be uh, used by many people. The other part to kind of think about it is that we have Metro, which Metro kind of considers, at least the rail portion of it themselves, to be a regional service. Obviously, because if you look at the Silver Line, it goes all the way from Loudoun County all the way over to Prince George's County, so quite an expanse all the way through the city. And then if you look at the local bus service, it's mainly kind of staying localized to neighborhoods. What this bus rapid transit does is actually provides kind of a medium range service in terms of being able to connect kind of destinations within like the more immediate region. So in a faster, more reliable manner. And then as the region grows over time, as people kind of, as Tyson starts to grow itself, there will be kind of increases in kind of congestion. But what we hope to have here is a system that kind of can get people from point A to point B in a faster, more reliable manner.
Hmm. And what's the issue? Like, I mean, I realize you have fewer stops because of cost or because to make it more rapid?
So,
To make it more rapid, it's more efficient.
Hmm.
I don't know if Mike has to, if you want
yeah,
to say anything else to
yeah,
that.
that's true. Because every time you stop the bus, you lose efficiencies, and then you kind of, or you might as well have local service with just kind of people getting on and off. The point of the kind of the BRT is to have it near level boarding. You pay before you get on and you board at
Right.
all doors so that you're there. The bus is stopped for maybe 20 seconds as it unloads people and then continues on. It gets transit priority. So if it's coming up on a signal, it says, hold on, wait, don't turn yet. I want it to be green. So it sends a signal, gets through this intersection, and then kind of keeps on its pace. The other thing that it allows us to do is it allows us to kind of spread out the buses a little bit more in terms of having them run every, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever happens, the headway happens to be. And it prevents what's called bus bunching. If you've ever kind of ridden some parts of the corridor, you'll get the buses sometimes, especially it's really seen a lot on Columbia Pike and in Fairfax and Arlington. The buses that are supposed to be spread out every 3 minutes or 4 minutes and coming in three at a time. So it's called platooning. So they get all the buses through, and then you're waiting. The next person's waiting for another 10 to 15 minutes for the next bus. So spreading this out, having it more reliable, allows for the system to kind of say there will be a bus coming every 5 to 6 minutes, just like there will be in Metro a train coming every 7 to 8 minutes, however they choose their schedule.
I see. That's a good point. I mean, one of the problems with getting to King Street from Tyson's is not just the distance, it's the sheer number of stops. I mean, if you do it in Google Maps, you see a dot, you see 1,000 dots, you know? And so it gets wearisome. It's funny, actually, I took the bus to King Street once and the bus driver's allowed to take a break. I took a break with them. I was like, I got to get off the bus for a second. Little joke, but what else did I say? Oh, just losing the median. Like asphalt is such a heat sink, and like we kind of have a nice median on Route 7. I mean, that's the only way to go to remove the median.
We will, when we get into the design phase, we will kind of look at, putting in, where we can, where it's feasible, some kind of greenery, shrubs or trees,
Mhm.
whatever's, able to, without kind of getting in the way of the bus, as it goes through. So those are things we will look at more. And, we are working with, different sections or departments of the county that are, will definitely incorporate those, amenities in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, I wish there was some better solution to asphalt. Some kind of
Yeah.
like matrix or hex like that let some water and sunlight get through or something. So if you could figure out something to put under the tracks,
Yeah.
that's pie in the sky, but still it gets so hot by the roads.
Mm. I hear
So
you.
I can
Yeah.
see what you say about the medians. There's not much median within the middle of Route 7 itself, but there's medians between the service drives and Route 7, kind of the
Mhm.
main line. So I see what you're saying about that. The one thing that we kind of make sure we do when we do these projects
Mhm.
is we do kind of definitely a street landscape type area between kind of the pedestrian realm and the kind of the road area to make sure that we create those shade trees because we understand people want to be shaded, especially this
Yeah.
environment.
Mhm.
The other thing that sometimes these systems allow us to do is kind of do stormwater management a little bit better under the actual track so that as you see in some systems where, the water just sheet flows, we might be able to kind of install some sort of systems under these particular travel lanes to actually recapture some of the actual water and kind of control the way in which it's released into the rest of the environment.
Mhm. All right. Lastly, I just want to circle back to not stopping at the Silver Line Metro, like Tyson's Corner Metro. Like, I realize you had three alternatives and you put them up for vote. I mean, I just feel like that has got to change. I mean, it gets so already Tyson's like on a cold day, it just, I don't know. I just hope you can, in the final hour, like somehow, I don't care what it takes, get that bus to stop in front of Silver Line Metro and do a loop or whatever, a figure eight, double axle, and then get back on the route.
Can I ask you a question just about
Yeah.
that? Why do you want it to stop at Tyson's Metro?
Because that's often where I'm going. I'm going to Tyson's Metro, and the idea of like stopping off where the Silver, what by Macy's or Silver Diner, and then having to walk a half a mile. I mean, that would be arduous, especially on a freezing day. And if there's snow, and we don't get as much snow, but on a freezing day, like I just want to be able to, you're like trying to get on your way here. Already the fact that you have to take a bus to the train is kind of an inconvenience. You wish you just could pop on the metro or take the BRT exactly where you're going. So if you have to transfer and walk a half a mile as part of the transfer, I mean, that's a real letdown.
No, I understand. So the reason I asked the question is that
Yeah.
so the bus we do have it going to the Spring Hill Metro, two stops up on the Silver Line. So
Oh,
it is going to stop right there.
oh,
And
I
it's
see.
also
So you're expecting people just to go. That's interesting. You're expecting people to go to Spring Hill as the main entry.
yes, yeah, so
I
we don't
see.
necessarily want to make Metro always our ultimate stops. So we do kind of we
Mhm.
want to work within the system, but we have other
Mhm.
destinations we'd like to serve. We're also showing that we're serving the West Falls Church of the Orange Line, actually on the east side further down. And the reason that Sean had mentioned that we kind of are using the Fletcher Street is that if there is an extension or another line on Gallows Road that's planned to make that could go from Maryfield up to Tyson's and it's a
Mhm.
BRT type system, this gives us the ability to kind of interface and have seamless transfer between the BRT systems. So we do
Mhm.
want to be able to serve everything, and so that's the reason why we kind of, when things were weighed against each other, this felt like it was a good balance.
Well, no, actually, I didn't pick up on this. So, what is the distance between the Silver Line, you're the BRT station by Spring Hill and Spring Hill? What's the walk? Like, is
Sean?
it a hop skip or what? What is it?
Are you on Spring Hill, the Spring Hill Metro, like
Yeah,
that
like
stop?
if I'm going to go to Spring Hill because it's close, I would go to Spring Hill if it's closer to a metro. Like if it's less than 2,000 feet, is what I'm saying.
It,
Like,
is the
is it
one that
right
stops at,
there?
yeah, the BRT stop that's right there at the Metro is like right where
Can
I
you
guess
bring that
the
slide up? Can you go
yeah.
back to the slide, please?
So the BRT stop that's right there is literally right in front of the metro
Yeah.
station where the buses stop today. So you get off in the same exact
Oh,
spot.
that's great. Yeah. So, okay. So, oh, Fletcher to Silver Spring. Oh, I see. Wait, no, Tyson's. Oh, Fletcher is by, Fletcher is that. I see. So, and how long is that ride from Fletcher to Spring Hill? It looks a little longer than I expected, but how long is that
Um,
ride?
I don't know off the top of my head how
Right.
what the duration of the bus would be from Fletcher to Spring Hill.
Oh, I see. Wait,
Um,
Spring Hill, the borough. So you're not, I see, you're not by the borough because, oh, you stop at the Galleria, right? I see.
yeah.
And then, so if I wanted a quick walk to the metro, if I had a lot of stuff or something, I would take it to Spring Hill. I mean, I don't know. There's just so much traffic at Tyson's. I would it still seems like you would want to stop at Tyson's, even for ridership, like you launch this project, you got these great buses, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess people would have to ride it. Like there's a lot of people who take it, especially late at night or early in the morning to get to their jobs. But I don't know. It still seems like you'd stop at Tyson's. But anyway, nothing more to say on that.
All right. Well, we appreciate the input,
Yeah,
and
thank
we
you.
do. And if
Mhm.
there's a reason or a way that we can modify a route in the future, if need be, then
Mhm.
we'll take a look at it. But this right now, I think this gives us the best opportunity to be able to provide convenient service while still, in terms of being express, so as we've or rapid as we kind of want it to be, and still serving, metro in a multitude of locations.
Just one question, actually, one follow up. Like, what was the issue? I mean, you did have one route that stopped at Tyson. So why wasn't there a route that stopped at, like, you had three routes? So let me just ask you
Yeah.
this, like, why wasn't there a route? Yeah, go back to that. Like, why wasn't there no, yeah, for lack of a better way to ask the question, why wasn't there a route that combined the
These two.
magenta and the light blue?
It was more so for efficiency and timing.
Mhm.
This really cut the time down to have to kind of stop here, make the turnaround, get back on International Drive,
Mhm.
and go that way. So it was more time efficient for the BRT to continue and just stop, along International Drive than meander off the corridor. And that's what you don't want to do with BRT. BRT, it really, takes a toll on the system as a whole when you start doing all these, right turns or, veer offs. And then at that point, you do start becoming more of just a local bus service at that point. So that was the whole, thing we took into consideration as well.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then
I see what you're saying. I mean, you don't want to compromise the whole, spirit of the enterprise, which is rapid. But I would make it, it's like you wouldn't pass, the theme park, Six
yeah,
Flags. Like, you'd stop. So I would make, I mean, you guys have been looking at it a long time, but it just seems like I would make that exception, meander, whatever it has to do, stop in
yeah.
front of the metro. But
No, yeah, well, we
yeah,
can we
I
can
thought,
incorporate that and look at that more further.
okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I have no further questions. Thanks for taking the ones I had.
yeah,
Absolutely.
no
Thank you
problem.
for coming and providing comments. All right. Are there any more questions either I think we've answered the ones in the chat, and then I think we're good there. There was one, Sean. It's asking, was the survey offered in Spanish?
I believe it was.
I believe
But
so too.
yeah,
We can double check, but usually we offer that
yeah.
in a multitude of languages, and we also have the ability to translate it over.
As I say, I do remember the brochure creating it in Spanish, but yeah, I can confirm.
I'll wait just another few moments if anybody. Okay, you're welcome, Mr. Espindola. Um, I don't think there are any more questions, so I'd like to say thank you all for attending. Our next steps are the Planning Commission in June 14th, and then we have I'm sorry, not June 14th, June 21st, and then our Board of Supervisors in July, so July 25th. Thank you for coming. Again, please visit the project website. If you have any comments, please, we'll take those for another few weeks. Sean, when's the deadline for comments?
July 10th.
July 10th. Thank you so
So
much.
yeah, you can go on the website, the webpage for Route 7 BRT, how access this meeting tonight. And you can phone me, you can email me, or you can put any kind of comments. There's a red box at the bottom of the webpage that you can fill out as well.
All right. With that, again, comments are always open. This recording is being recorded, and we will go ahead and stop the recording in just a moment. It will be posted to the project webpage, which Tom put in the chat, and then the meeting from yesterday at lunchtime will also be posted as well, so you'll be able to see both of them. There'll be the same content, maybe different Q&A in the back. So thank you, everyone. And with that, have a good rest of the evening.
Thank you, everyone.